Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Tarun's Thoughts. My name is Tarun Shetty. Hope everyone's having a great week. I've been shooting videos in my apartment just because out of necessity. I got to keep creative, and I think I've learned a lot. I mean, just to make something a few times a week. I obviously have no cast or crew, so I just grabbed my camera and started making videos. And you can see them on my Instagram, Tarun Shetty, or YouTube, I think Tarun Productions. But it's been a lot of fun. I think as an artist, you just keep making stuff, you just get better, and you kind of fine-tune things. So yesterday I made this video. It was about this guy. I play the character, obviously, and every day is exactly the same, and you see his mental downward spiral, and then he tries to kill himself, and it fails. And the idea being, he tries to escape this all-encompassing thing by killing himself, and the one thing that should be a guarantee fails, and he's back to day one. I mean, not hilarious, but I think juxtaposed with the children's song I put underneath it, was funny. And that can be disagreed. I get it, but it was something I wanted to explore. I mean, that's the important message here. So I think I got 2 or 3 messages, and they were like, "Dude, suicide is not funny. We want to see something that's gonna escape us from the pandemic, not show more sadness." And I really take these messages seriously for some reason. I do. I mean, I really, as I've said before, I appreciate all of my fans. I even appreciate the hate mail because it means you went out of your way to watch my thing. So I do appreciate it. And I wasn't bothered by it, but I did think about it. And I left my video up. One, it's ridiculous for me to take down a video off of 2 messages, right? But also, where is this comedy outrage coming from? I mean, look, I've been on both sides of the coin. And what I mean by that is there is light, fluffy, clean comedy, which has been around forever. Jerry Seinfeld, Brian Regan, Cosby back in the day before he started date raping, drugging girls. And then you have your edgy comedians, George Carlin, Bill Hicks, Louis C.K. You get it? It's been around forever. You have these 2 worlds, this dichotomy of comedy. It's always been there. And I've always been kind of mix of both. I've done Bobby Khan, character, PG, clean character. Done it for years for kids and families and corporate events. And then I'll make, if you watch my series Critical Mass it's a web series, it was really dark because I feel like I never want to be constrained. And there's a great video on YouTube. Patrice ONeal, rest his soul, rest in peace. He was on Fox News, and he's debating this girl who's a feminist, and she's offended by a thing called a donkey punch, which is this dating where the guy hits the girl in the back of the head, whatever. And she's like, this is clearly offensive to the woman. And Patrice wasn't arguing that. He was arguing the comedy aspect of it, and he goes, comedy comes from the same birth. And I think that applies here, and I'm going to explain this. First of all, making anything comedy related is very challenging. Whether it's stand-up comedy, whether you're a filmmaker, it's hard. You're putting yourself out there, and you don't know what's going to land, what's not going to work. So even making something, it all comes from the same origin, right? The same creative source, the light and dark. And for me, as a comedian, when I make stuff, I never think, hey, are people gonna like this? Am I gonna get fan mail off of this? I'm making stuff that's funny or interesting to me. Not to be selfish, but yeah, I do want to entertain people. But at the same time, I'm trying to be true to myself and not be afraid of exploring topics just because of, there's a comedy outrage police monitoring every video out there. There was this show in I think the late 90s. It was a Dana Carvey show. And if you're not aware, Dana Carvey, huge SNL alumni, was given his own primetime show on ABC. It was after Home Improvement, and they put together like Louis C.K., Steve Carell, and all the top writers in Hollywood at the time, and the greatest minds. And it was so offensive that they lost their corporate sponsorship. See, now that's different, because when you have corporate sponsorship, corporations are behind you and they expect a certain brand, then yes, you owe it to them to uphold that clean-cut, wholesome thing. But if you're an independent comedian or a filmmaker, like, are we not allowed to make what we want to make anymore? Do we have to be constantly vigilant and be like, oh my God, am I gonna offend so and so because they find that their family member killed themselves? I mean, look, again, I'm not saying suicide is hilarious or funny. I'm just saying you can explore. By the way, the guy didn't even kill himself. It was a failed suicide attempt in my video. But regardless, I think we should be allowed to cover both aspects of it. You know, artists and comedians, from my point of view, I think we should be allowed to make attempts. Now, whether it's funny, it's funny. If it's not, so be it. A great, more current example of this is Ari Shaffir, who I know personally. He wrote a tweet about Kobe Bryant in the helicopter and how he was glad about Kobe dying. Did I find it funny? No. In fact, I think it was probably career suicide to make that, because look, you're going to offend a lot of people. But with all that, he's allowed to make the joke. I mean, it's freedom of speech. I mean, he's a comedian. Like, he knows what he's doing, and not buying his CDs, not supporting him, not buying his tickets for his comedy shows, that is a way of voicing your opinion. But to, like, you know, trying to find him on the street and kill him and hurt him physically and just, you know, shut down his career by getting people to ban him and stuff, like, that's not the way to go about it. Maybe I'm old school. Maybe things have just changed where I haven't seen it, but I find it incredibly disturbing when people start, and look, I'm not even a controversial filmmaker or stand-up comedian, but it's gotten to a point now where dark comedy is misinterpreted. I've heard Seinfeld say he refuses to play at colleges anymore because he finds them too PC, and he's like the cleanest comedian, like observational guy. So I would just say keep that in mind. Like, when you watch like dark comedy, light comedy, like there's a wide net. I mean, tragedy's been. I mean, I think there's something beautiful. It's not really my thing all the time, but like there's something beautiful when you reflect tragedy in your art. I mean, Charlie Chaplin did it, reflecting harsh economic times, and I mean, Life is Beautiful. Roberto Benigni. You know, he took the whole Holocaust thing, made comedy there. I mean, look, again, I'm just saying, comedy is not so cut and dry. Like, it's not just one road, which people have this misconception for. Like, I love Mr. Bean. I love what he's doing, but like, that's a style of comedy. And it's different. It's different for everybody. So take that for what it is. Hey, watch my videos. If you like it. Just don't message me. Because I don't want to read any more messages. Have a great week, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.